You climb into a car that isn't yours every single week, and somehow, it works. That's the reality Shane Van Gisbergen just handed JR Motorsports. And it's forcing 3 different drivers to shuffle between 5 race cars like pieces on a chessboard nobody agreed to play. One driver wins 2 cup races in a row. Another driver gets bumped to a truck team spare car. A third driver waits by the garage wall, unsure which number he's driving until the schedule tells him. This isn't a rumor. This is the confirmed replacement plan running through NASCAR's O'Reilly Auto Parts series right now. And it started because one man was simply too fast to leave in one car. Shane Van Gisbergen's 2026 NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts series season ended at Sonoma Raceway, and it ended the way most people expected. He won Saturday's O'Reilly Series race there, giving him 2 wins in 3 starts this season in that series. Then, on Sunday, he won the Cup Series race at the same track, extending a streak of back-to-back Sonoma victories and marking 3 straight wins overall, dating back to 2025. Van Gisbergen drove the number 9 JR Motorsports Chevrolet, a part-time 5th car the team fields on occasion, in all 3 of his O'Reilly Series starts this year. Beyond Sonoma, he has no scheduled return to that series, since there are no more road courses left on the 2026 calendar. Before this story goes further, here's something worth mentioning. This channel, NASCAR Voltage, is closing in on 500 subscribers, and every one of you watching right now is part of getting there. If you want deep dives like this one, broken down with real facts and no filler, hitting subscribe helps this channel keep going. A like, a comment, and a share genuinely make a difference in how many people this reporting reaches. Your support directly shapes what gets covered next, so if you found this useful so far, now's a good moment to tap that button before the story keeps rolling. Here's where the seat swapping gets complicated. Van Gisbergen currently splits time in the number 1 JR Motorsports Chevrolet with Connor Zilisch, a car Van Gisbergen drove full-time just 1 year earlier. Zilisch himself drove JR Motorsports' number 88 car in 2025, but this year he's racing full-time alongside Van Gisbergen at Trackhouse Racing's Cup team as a rookie. Meanwhile, Carson Cavapiel held onto his full-time status as an O'Reilly Series driver for 2026 after driving the number 1 Chevrolet full-time the year before. The rotation works like this. Whenever Zilisch is behind the wheel of the number 1 car, the team adds the number 9 Chevrolet to the lineup. And whenever someone else, like Van Gisbergen, is driving that number 9 car instead, Cavapiel moves over to the number 91 Chevrolet for DGM Racing, partnered with Jesse Iwuji Motorsports. With Van Gisbergen now out of the O'Reilly Series for the rest of the season, and Zilisch set to drive the number 1 car for the 9th time this year at Chicagoland, Cavapiel is confirmed to return to the number 9 Chevrolet. It will be his first time in that car since mid-June's race at Pocono Raceway, and his 5th time overall this season. Earlier in the year, that same number 9 seat passed through even more hands. Ross Chastain, Van Gisbergen's Trackhouse Cup Series teammate, replaced him in the car for a race at Dover Motor Speedway in May. Lee Pulliam was also lined up to make his O'Reilly Series debut in that entry at Martinsville Speedway. 5 different names, 1 car number, and a schedule built entirely around where Van Gisbergen happens to be racing that weekend. The reason this level of coordination even makes sense comes down to what Van Gisbergen has done on road courses since arriving in NASCAR. In his 2nd full-time Cup Series season, he has tied Tony Stewart for road course victories with 8 wins, sitting just 1 behind the record held by Jeff Gordon. His win at Sonoma was his closest margin yet across those 8 road course victories, finishing just 0.357 seconds ahead of Chase Briscoe. That gap prompted a direct question about whether the rest of the field is finally catching up to him. Denny Hamlin, who started the Sonoma race in a row next to Van Gisbergen before a lap 64 spin ended his day in 26th place, addressed it directly on his podcast, Actions Detrimental. Hamlin said he watched Van Gisbergen approach several corners at Sonoma differently than anyone else, admitting he never thought to approach that corner that way. He added that whether Van Gisbergen's technique and car feel can be replicated by other drivers remains a much tougher question to answer. Van Gisbergen's overall Cup Series body of work backs up why teams keep rearranging their driver lineups around his schedule. He currently sits 14th in the chase standings, 35 points above the cut line, with 8 races remaining to determine whether he advances. He drives the number 97 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing, a number he chose deliberately. It's the same number his father, Robert van Gisbergen, used during his own racing career, and the same number Shane used throughout his Australian supercars career, where he won 3 championships. Van Gisbergen remains paired with crew chief Stephen Doran, and together they won 5 races and finished 12th in the Cup Series standings during their first season together in 2025. His first Cup win came at the inaugural Chicago Street Course race in 2023, and he later won the inaugural Cup race at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City in June 2025. His Sonoma win in June 2026 marked his 8th Cup Series victory overall, along with a 6th career O'Reilly Series win at that same track. What this confirms is straightforward. As long as Van Gisbergen keeps winning at this pace on road courses, JR Motorsports will keep restructuring its O'Reilly Series lineup every time his Cup schedule pulls him away, and that means Kvapiel, Zilisch, Chastain, and Pouliot will keep trading seats between the number 1, number 9, and number 91 cars, depending entirely on where Van Gisbergen lines up next. With 8 Cup races left to decide his chase fate, and no more road courses left this year in the O'Reilly Series, the seat shuffling behind him may finally settle, at least until the next road course weekend arrives. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribing to NASCAR Voltage helps get this channel to that 500 subscriber mark, and it means these stories keep getting made. Drop a comment with your take on the driver rotation, share this with another NASCAR fan who'd want the full picture, and stick around. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.